Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to have this opportunity to address your conference and can only hope you will forgive me for not being with you in person. My diary seems to become ever more unmanageable with every passing year, and I'm afraid that it has not been possible to find the time to travel to Washington. It is, however, hugely encouraging that so many of you have been able to do so, and that such a large and eminent group from the financial world has come together for these important discussions. The context in which business operates is subject to fundamental change, and it seems to me that we have reached a crossroads, or indeed a tipping point, for the global economy. The recent and to some extent continuing financial crisis has demonstrated shortcomings in our financial systems and institutions which could pose a threat to the long-term stability of the global economy. There is also growing awareness, but happening far too slowly, that the Earth's natural resources are being consumed at a much faster rate than they are being renewed. In other words, our planet has reached a point of crisis, with the time to act rapidly running out. We are confronting what could be described as a perfect storm, an ever-increasing global population, the demands of which may outstrip the Earth's capacity to sustain it, bringing pollution, climate change, and overconsumption of finite natural resources, coupled with unprecedented levels of financial indebtedness. We are consuming and polluting our children's and grandchildren's inheritance. And to compound the felony, we are also leaving them to meet the costs, to repay the debts incurred as we do so. Yet, little of this is reflected in corporate reporting and in the measurement of the impact of decision-making. To put it another way, corporate reporting and financial decision-making systems have not been developed to cover the more complex and interlinked issues, financial, economic, environmental and social, that now determine organizations' success and indeed survival. If we are to tackle the challenges of overconsumption of finite natural resources and climate change, it is vital that we have better information about the risks and opportunities that the transition to a sustainable global economy will entail. It seems to me, at the very least, that we need a better understanding of the relationships between energy, water and food security, as well as climate change, if we are going to grasp accurately the full context in which our global economy operates. At present, we face these challenges with only a fraction of the knowledge needed to assess this risk and therefore make better choices. In particular, we lack knowledge about the true value of nature and are incurring a huge and at present hidden cost and deficit as a result of nature's economic invisibility. While we account for our financial income, expenditure, assets and liabilities with great precision, our greatest asset, the natural capital on which everyone depends, is not accounted for at all. This is why, if I may say so, it is so important for those of you in the financial sector to take on the responsibility for providing the better decision-making systems and information which are so urgently required, and to show that acting for the long term and in the best interests of communities and the environment is the right financial approach, and not just an expensive luxury to be discarded rapidly in times of economic downturn. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I established my Accounting for Sustainability project in 2004 to work with the accounting and financial sectors to address these issues. In other words, the failure to value and measure natural capital, the narrowness and retrospective emphasis of most accounting information, and the disproportionate focus by business and investors on the short term. In 2010, my Accounting for Sustainability project in collaboration with the United Nations Environment Programme Finance Initiative, established the International Integrated Reporting Committee. Its membership represents a powerful cross-section from the corporate, investment, accounting, securities, regulatory and standard-setting sectors, and includes representatives from the United Nations Principles for Responsible Investment Initiative, the International Organization of Securities Commission, and the International Accounting Standards Board. Its objective is to instigate the creation of a global system for integrated reporting to provide the broader information which is so urgently required in a clear, concise and comparable format. With your support, the International Integrated Reporting Committee can provide an overall framework for better informed decision-making and reporting. But there is, of course, also a huge range of more sector-specific work being undertaken, which would also benefit enormously from your interest and input. My Cambridge Programme for Sustainability Leadership is, for example, working with leaders in the banking sector to identify ways in which banks can collectively stimulate the redirection of investment away from activities that damage natural capital towards those that benefit the environment, while always ensuring attractive returns for investors. The group that CPSL and the banks have established is, in particular, looking at how the banking sector can address the challenges of energy generation and food production in a way which will help facilitate the transition to a sustainable economy. At my urging, CPSL has also brought together leaders from the international insurance industry to form the Climate-Wise initiative. It is a project to analyze the risks and to incorporate the impacts of climate change into insurers' underwriting and investment strategies. Those of you who work in the financial sector have the influence and capacity to help address and mitigate the global risks that we face. And if I may be so bold, it is essential that you use this influence and capacity to do so. Make no mistake, the decisions that investors and businesses take in the next few years will have a cumulative impact on humanity's ability to survive in the long term, in a way and to an extent never experienced or seen previously. If we do not have the right information and systems to make the right decisions, we will effectively lock our children and grandchildren into a very grim future. As the Native American proverb says, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. So I can only hope and pray, ladies and gentlemen, that your discussions over the next few days will be an important and practical step along the road towards the more resilient and sustainable global economy so urgently required.